Hi, I'm Coach Stephen Arnold, and in today's lecture we're talking about hydration. Probably the most underrated and least talked about factor when it comes to health and fitness. We all talk a lot about training and nutrition, but we don't often hear a lot about hydration. So let's get into this today and hopefully give you some information and give you some support in how to achieve correct hydration. So as we know from previous material earlier in this program, 70% of the human body is made up of water. But hydration isn't just water, it's also electrolyte status. Electrolytes control contractions and relaxation of the muscles. So sodium and potassium control contractions and relaxation of the muscle, and magnesium is the electrolyte that controls how much potassium and sodium goes into the muscle cell and how much comes out. So this is like the controlling electrolyte, and these are the ones that control contractions and relaxation. In a study done in the late 2000s, it was actually shown that up to 75% of Americans were deficient in magnesium. So that's not suboptimal, that's actually deficient. Magnesium is also present in over 300 biochemical reactions, including muscle protein synthesis. So if we are underhydrated or inadequately hydrated, not only are we low on water, but if we're low on these electrolytes, it's going to massively impact our performance and also the way our body responds to the training stimulus that we put upon it. So you're not going to perform as well, and you're not going to adapt as well either. So hydration is a massively important factor. All right, how much water should you be consuming on a daily basis? So the average guideline is 3 litres for men and 2.5 litres for women per day. But that depends on a number of factors. So how much you sweat, how much you train, what sort of environment you're in as well. So we count the water that goes in, but we also calculate for the water that's contained within the foods we eat, the coffee that we drink, the water that we drink. So foods like carbohydrates, rice, and fruits, they're going to have a lot of water contained within them, and also coffee. Even though it is a diuretic, it also contributes towards our daily hydration and our daily hydration status. It does cause a diuretic effect, but the net effect of coffee, it doesn't make us urinate as much as the water body that it consumes. So water does contribute towards a positive hydration status, and so does the food. So you want to measure the water that goes in, and it depends on a number of factors, depending on who you are and what you do. And how do we gauge if you need to have more or less? Well, what we can do is we can gauge it by how many times you go to the toilet per day. So we're probably looking at about 5 visits to the toilet per day, with 2 of those being after training. And also looking at your colour of your urine as well. If it's pale to very, very light yellow, then that would indicate that you are adequately hydrated. And if it goes darker, then you're moving more towards the dehydrated status. So check the colour and check the frequency of your toilet visits. That's going to give you a good indication of how well you are hydrated. And make sure that you're setting out your water intake as well. Don't just be reactive, be proactive with your intake. Don't just look at your urine and go, oh, it's a bit dark, I better drink some more. Or I'm going to go into the gym, I better drink some more as I'm training. Plan it out, because the rate at which you can lose water compared to the rate that you can uptake water is outweighed 2 to 1. So you need to plan it, and rather than being reactive, because if you are being reactive, it's going to be a little bit late, and you are going to be underperforming and under-responding to the training stimulus. So make sure that you're planning it out equally throughout the day. So if it's 3 litres, plus I need to take in an extra half a litre to account for the fact that I'm training and I live in a hot environment, I need to just do half a litre between every meal, and that's going to get me somewhere near where I need to be, or whatever you may be, or wherever you may be, and that will change from day to day as well. So continuously check your toilet visits and your urine colour, and obviously moderate the amount of water that you intake. Okay, so how important is it to be hydrated? Well, 0.5% dehydration increases your risk of cardiac disease and cardiac pressure. 1% dehydration affects your cardiac performance. 3% dehydration causes muscular endurance as well. So if you're doing high volume reps, 12 or 15, it's going to affect the way that you perform there. 4% loss in water affects muscular strength and your motor skills as well. So the way that you perform your technique and the maximum amount of load that you can lift. And up to 5%, well, this is where we're getting a bit serious now, this causes heat exhaustion and serious fatigue in the way that your brain works. So anywhere down here, you're in serious trouble. You want to be perfectly hydrated to be getting perfect or maximal optimum athletic performance and adequate or optimal amount of adaptation. So there you are, guys, some simple notes that's going to help you stay hydrated. Don't overthink it, just plan it out, take some rough numbers, gauge the way that your urine looks, how many times you go to the toilet, and just gauge it accordingly. Right, there you go. Cheers, guys, I'll see you on the inside.